Philippines.
Hey Chrissy, should you stay or should you go?
We'll find out.
What should you do? Should you send her out the door back to your home country, or should you stay here and live with her the Philippine life, if you can?
Now let's talk about that.
Chrissy.
So, if you are currently in a relationship with a Filipina, after watching this video, you will gonna think about, does your Filipina really love you because she loves you, or because there's a lot of intentions behind that love that she's showing for you?
Let's tell you what goes on. Your world has spun off its axis. The earth is no longer rotating in the same direction. Everything is upside down, Chrissy. When you come to the Philippines, you become the hot commodity, not the young woman. And now that you're here, and you are the desirable commodity, you're the Westerner with the pointy nose and those special eyes. You've got a little bit more cash in your pocket than the average man. And you come to realize that there is a large number of very attractive Filipinas that are interested in you. So should you just pick up with your Filipina and go back to your home country? Is that a safe bet? Is that the smart move? Or should you live in paradise? If you can consider the Philippines your paradise, can you get used to the culture, the food, the weather, the dogs, the roosters, the neighbors, the different language? Because really English is not as common here as you think or have been led to believe.
If you're still searching for a Filipina, this video will be a helpful piece for you to study and to know what are you going to do when you found one.
You really need to think before you meet your Filipino what your game plan is, because many Filipinas online want to go to the West and then they want to pull that string and bring those family members to the West. One gentleman commented, why go to the Philippines? You can just go to Southern California. There's 1 million Filipinas living there. You could meet one there and they'll all be westernized and off you go. So you need to decide, where do you want to live your retirement years? Do you want to be in America, close to your grandchildren, close to your family, close to your business, close to your golf club? Do you want to be in the Philippines in a tropical climate, a lot of poverty, a lot of differences in culture, a lot of weather differences, food differences, and much more difficult to keep an eye on your investments and to stay close to your family? Then you need to decide what are the long-term prospects for your relationship, because relationships in the West could be problematic, and you need to think through what the future looks like if you bring your Filipina home. You guys' status is very important in the Philippines. It's more so than in the West.
Yeah, that's why I can't blame if there are a lot of Filipinas that marrying foreigners and want the husbands to bring them into the West. Because for them, it will develop and it will make their status more higher to the people. Since you are a foreigner here in our country, do you feel like if a relationship with a Filipina will fail, you can easily pick or replace that Filipina because you are here in the Philippines,
right,
and there's a lot of women that will be swayed by your appearance?
So if all you're interested in is the physical aspects of the relationship, then yeah, here in the Philippines, I do believe, I see other expats with 22-year-old college girls. I see other expats with really attractive young Filipinas. I don't think that would be hard to replace at all. Now, being able to replace Chrissy, now that's a whole nother story. College educated, intelligent, funny, witty, religious, family values. I think that would be hard if they came here to the Philippines and they settled in. They are the item. They are the it item. Just as if, Chrissy, we went to the West and you got a job in a hospital. Yeah. Oh my God, the doctors would be chasing you all around the hall. Chrissy would be like running down the hallways away from these doctors in their $100,000 Mercedes. So, Chrissy, it's like safe to say that it's true that a man in the Philippines, doesn't matter if he's at his best weight or if he's a little pointy or he's a little bald. There are just so many young, attractive Filipinas that want to hook up and have that relationship. There's so much opportunity. And likewise, a beautiful Filipina in America or Europe is going to have many, many opportunities to meet a man with a nice house and drives a nice car. But finding true love, it's going to be hit or miss.
Yes.
In either case, in either case. And I think most of you out there, you'd like to have it all. You'd like to win the lottery. You'd want to get a beautiful woman like Chrissy who truly loves you and you love her in your heart. And, fingers crossed, we hope that that's what we've got and that it lasts forever.
Yeah.
But the decision is, how do you proceed? You're thinking about making the trip to the Philippines. You've met a Filipina. You've been long distance dating online. You've thought about staying in the West, making a life in the West. Maybe she becomes a nurse. Maybe she gets a job. Maybe she just golfs with you. How are you going to handle this? How old is your Filipina? So let's just start with the fundamentals. The age of the Filipina is really important to whether or not the relationship is going to last, whether it's here in the Philippines or whether it's in the West. But more so, I think, in the West. If your Filipina is a 20-year-old young woman, 20-year-olds, they're not really set in concrete yet. They're still evolving. They're still maturing. Their life experiences are limited. Maybe they haven't finished their education.
They're still in the process of growing.
Yeah.
Bringing your Filipina in the West is really a big risk. It is a gamble. That is why maturity plays a big role in your relationship when it comes to deciding where to live. Because if she is mature enough, she will respect your decision. If you want to live here in the Philippines and you're going to present to her your reasons why, if she is really mature enough and she loves you truly, there's no any other intentions that she's thinking behind her mind of marrying you, then she will be saying yes. But if she's not really mature enough and she has these big plans for herself, because she will be thinking she will get a lot of opportunity in the West, not just a career opportunity, but maybe another relationship opportunity that she's thinking when she goes to the West, then she will say a big no.
Chrissy, I think that both men and women are equally challenged. The men, 50% of the people that they're talking to just want to get into their wallet. And for the women, 50% of the people they're talking to just want to get into their pants, just want to get into their pants. And, a man who wants to get into a woman's pants is probably going to say just about anything until he's successful. And a woman who wants to get into your wallet is probably going to pretty much say just about anything until she finds her way into your wallet. Yeah. So this is like a truism, and I think that we're all challenged. We've all heard about the scammers. Mm-hmm. We've all heard the horror stories, both sides, right? And so if you navigate successfully and you meet a real Filipina from a good family, she's not into drinking and clubbing, and she didn't work as a bar girl ever, and she's really got those provincial values, those old school values all you guys are always talking about. If you find somebody like that, how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to keep her here in the Philippines, nurture those homegrown sentiments, walk around with all the status that you have here, or are you going to risk it all and bring her to the West? And now, a 20-year-old Filipina, and you're maybe my age, 67, got good luck, your chances for failure are going to go up. A 30-year-old Filipina, and maybe if you're younger than me, maybe you're 55, okay, your chances for success are going to be much, much, much better. The bigger the age gap, the younger the Filipina, those are your two biggest risk factors. And then, underneath it all is whether you found the right woman to begin with. Because if you found a woman that worked in a bar for a couple of years, but she never got the tattoo, and she never told you about it, she said she worked in a call center, well, that woman isn't going to work out no matter where you bring her, whether it's here or in the West. But if you do find the right woman, that's something really valuable. Now, how are you going to handle it? Your kids want you near home. You have grandchildren you'd like to see every week, every other week. Mm-hmm. You've got your golf buddies. You've got your business investments you can really manage much better from the West. Your health can be managed much better, the hospital system. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons a little bit more technically for each of these decisions. I asked Chrissy, why are you so jealous? Like, what in the world would make you jealous? Now, Chrissy's scared to death. Not that I'm going to go and flirt with another woman. You're scared
of the woman that will flirt with you.
Yeah, Chrissy's like out of her mind if I go to the mall by myself. She's like, why would you ever want to go to the mall by yourself? There's Filipinas out there that are like, it's like big game hunters are looking for me. I'm the trophy, and they're out there gunning for you.
You know, I'm not saying that all of the Filipinas that Rob will meet in outside without me are gonna flirt with him, but you know, prevention is better than cure.
Yeah. So, but for me, it kind of blows my mind. But that's how Chrissy sees it. She sees the other Filipinas
Yes.
maybe can't be trusted.
And Rob also mentioned that he think that that is what he will feel when he will bring me in the West and I'll go out alone.
Everyone is going to hit on her as soon as I'm 10 feet away. That's how I think things would work. And she kind of feels that way here in the Philippines. Kind of interesting.
Yes. So I think the better way for you to do is stay here in the Philippines for a while, develop your relationship with the Filipina, develop your love to each other until you will feel that your love to each other and trust to each other are already strong enough for you to bring her in the West.
Right.
But there's still a risk, you know, because
Yes.
if your Filipina here in the Philippines doesn't have a tattoo, she doesn't drink, it might change when she will be in the West.
I'll be getting older and older, and you're going to still be in your prime. Now, Chrissy is 30 years old. I'm 67. She has a 4-year-old son who will be living with us in the not too distant future. And our thought is to stay here in the Philippines. I want to arbitrage my income from the West, my pensions, and I want to be able to turn dollars into pesos. So, you know, we're living in this nice house that would cost 3 or 4 times more in America. The money goes a lot farther. There's lots of places to vacation and be tourists here in Southeast Asia also. But our thought is to, you know, Chrissy's 30. If we stay here 6, 7, 8 years, she'll be 37, 38, 39. She's still going to be gorgeous. In America, people are going to like, wow. You know, they're going to see her and they're going to go, their head's going to blow up. But at that point, we'll have been together, you know, 8 years. I'll be stepfather to her son now, you know, for 8 years. That relationship will be there. My grandchildren will be older, and I'll have a more meaningful relationship with them. And you know, if Chrissy is to, you know, maybe pursue a nursing degree or pursue her teaching in America, you know, possibly we'll feel comfortable in that environment. She won't be 20 years old when she hits the shores of the West, and the discos are calling and the girlfriends are calling. Also, I think, you know, the relationship with money is very important too. You know, some people can't handle sudden wealth. You know, you think of lottery winners, you know, they're all miserable a year later. A Filipina can be like that too. I met one fellow and he said, you know, the girl used to be all frugal and really careful of how she spent his money. And after a year, you know, she's online shopping like there's, you know, like, you know, like a you know, just going crazy, spending money. Just everything's came so easy. The money is just so easy, whether it's for her family or for clothing. If she remains frugal and she continues to be very respectful of your money and how hard you work for your money, and the fact that you're on a pension and it's not unlimited. If she brings that mindset to America, she realizes that in order to maintain the lifestyle she had in the Philippines, she might have to work. And she wants to drive a new car, live in a nicer house. It might require, you know, a able-bodied working person in addition to your pension. So Chrissy, let's just first talk about the advantages of staying in the Philippines. We talked about the world spinning off its axis and the man having all the cachet, all the dating power, you know, the desirability factor is all reversed. But there's the beautiful natural environment of the Philippines, the beaches. So that brings us to the cost of living. Your pension dollars are going to go way farther. You're going to be able to arbitrage your pension for pesos. Just the other day, the dollar hit 57.15 pesos to the dollar. Then there's the Filipino culture, Chrissy. It's warm, it's welcoming, it smiles, everybody's happy.
You really experienced that with my family.
Yeah, Chrissy's family just came. Chrissy's family blew into town. opposite of what everybody says, which is if they come to visit, you're going to need a forklift to get them out. They flew in at like 10:30 at night, and they left like at 11 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
And I had bought all this food, and I'm thinking I'm going to host, and they're welcome to stay a few days. I got 3 extra bedrooms, and boy, if I hadn't, I needed a crowbar to get them to eat the food. Next morning, they just wanted bread and mayonnaise, Chrissy.
Yes.
That's what they toast,
and
bread and mayonnaise, and coffee. That tight-knit community, it's nice to tap into, and it's really nice that Chrissy has that really warm extended family. They live like 5 hours away, so maybe we have the best of both worlds. We have our privacy, but we also have family nearby.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the pros of returning to the West? You're going to be near your family, and you're going to have those relationships much firmer in place. Now they're going to have to adapt to a wife or a girlfriend who's possibly younger than them, and that's going to be a little problematic.
Yes.
They're a little bit bothered. Their self-image is bothered. But the number one advantage is you're going to have the Western healthcare system. Your Medicare,
Yes.
your hospitalization, your doctors. If you have health issues or you think you might develop them as you get older, having access to world-class healthcare in the West.
And the advantage of getting your Filipinas to the West, for the Filipina, she will learn about your culture, she will experience your culture, and by that way, she will understand more about you.
Yeah, being around your network of family and friends back home, and having your Filipina integrated into that network,
Yes.
I think it will give you a nice warm sense of retirement that you may miss here in the foreign country. So what are the cons of staying in the Philippines? What are the negatives? You got to deal with visa and immigration issues. It's $60 a month, and then even if you get married, you can get a 1 year, and then there's all kinds of visas, and it's a pain in the ass, and you're dealing with the bureaucracy in the Philippines, and everything can always change too. So staying here in the Philippines, that I would consider dealing with immigration is a little bit, and you're not a citizen. Your opinion is really not wanted or welcome when it comes to politics. Just pollution, environmental issues are better in the West.
Yes.
Food, access to high quality foods that don't have pollution. You have limited access to your pension. Some Canadians have to spend at least 6 months in Canada. If you need money moved and things like that, it can be challenging. There's a little bit of a cultural adjustment, I think,
Yes.
for your Filipina, and that could be a negative because she could see the people walking around with the Louis Vuitton bags and driving the Bentleys and living in these monster houses with the great swimming pools, and she just doesn't understand why she can't just immediately move into that lifestyle. And then there's a very liberal cultural aspect. Many of men that are in this space on YouTube have referred to where women have changed. They're not the types of women their mothers were. They're they're not just burning their bras. There's this woke thing that a lot of men don't like. Personally, I'm not that affected by it, but a lot of men are really bothered by wokeism or people, other pronouns, and the whole transgender thing that's taken off, and everybody having to be politically correct. And so that's a cultural adaptation. They might not want to see their old school Filipina kind of hang out. If they're not hanging out with young girls at the disco and cheating on their husbands, they can be hanging out with women who have very, very different ideas. Either ultra conservative ideas that like border on racism, or ultra liberal ideas that border on just too much political correctness to make someone really happy with the changes. Other disadvantages is a much higher cost of living. So to maintain that lifestyle, she might want to go back to work. It's a much higher cost of living. The food might be high quality, but the cost is going to be much higher. Then another negative, Chrissy, is you're excited to see snow, but like some of us, we've been through the snow, we've shoveled enough snow for our time. We don't want to go back to the weather in the east coast of the United States, or maybe people don't want to go back to Canada.
I think because for us it's a very strange thing and we wanted to experience that. But I am aware that not all the strange things that we wanted to experience we will like it.
And another negative, what about your loved ones? It's they're 5 hours away.
Yes.
But it's just a $10 bus ride, and boom, you're
Yeah.
home. But if you're in the West, boy, you're really far from your loved ones.
So one of the disadvantages is if you will be in the West, you cannot easily visit your family in the Philippines because it will cost a lot of money if
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah.
Because, yes, and then you will feel maybe homesick at the first year.
Do you think you'd be homesick if you were in America?
Yes, you will feel homesick a little bit.
We talked about the pros and cons of living in the Philippines. We talked about the pros and cons of going to the West.
Yes.
Let's get your opinion. What's the number one pro if you move to the West?
The number one pro if we're gonna move to the West is I can have a greater opportunity to work on my career and to have a very high paid job in there, and I'm gonna support my family without making you feel that my family will be your responsibility.
Oh, so you can
You know.
take that on yourself.
Yeah, so I can support them independently. And then
And what's the number one negative if you went to the United States in your mind, or to the West?
your the number one challenge for me if we go there will be your trust will make, because if I'm gonna start to work and I will be out of the house alone, even maybe Rob doesn't think any negative, but maybe outside I'll be thinking, oh my god, I don't want my husband to think that I am fooling around here outside, so that could be very challenging.
Hey guys, what do you think? What's your number one concern about bringing a beautiful Filipina to the West? And what's your number one concern about staying here in Asia? Go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, so the number one advantage for me if you're gonna stay here in the Philippines is there's no need for me to adjust of the culture, the weather, and also I'll be closer to my family.
If I win the Philippine lottery and I get $5 million winnings tomorrow, where should we live?
Still here in the Philippines.
But for those of you thinking about this issue, pondering it, be careful of the ultra young 20 to 22-year-old, even though that's what you're genetically programmed to like.
But if you already have a 20-year-old, 20 to 25-year-old Filipina girlfriend, it is very important for the both of you to talk about what place, where you want to live. Maybe it will work.
And good luck, everybody. From Fly Me to the Philippines, till next time.
See you in the next video.